We live in an extremely emotionally driven society.
This crucial witness says he believes the jury made the right decision in finding Sean P. Diddy Combs not guilty on the most serious charges in his sex trafficking trial.
People judge situations based on what a media outlet tells them without understanding what's actually going on from a legal perspective.
Joining me now is an alternate juror who was in the Sean Diddy Combs trial.
That is why today I have decided to weigh in on the Diddy trial and how I knew all along he most likely wasn't going to get convicted of all the charges being laid against him.
Crimes prosecutor and criminal defense attorney, the great Matt Murphy. Got to ask you your reaction to the verdict. Is it what you expected?
This was never a good fit for RICO for a lot of different reasons. And the consent element regarding the sex trafficking was always problematic.
I want to start this video by saying I'm not a fan of Diddy's. I listened to his music back in the 90s when Bad Boy Entertainment was at its peak, but I do not condone any of his actions, nor am I endorsing him in this video.
Diddy may have been acquitted of some pretty big charges at his criminal trial, but he still was convicted of 2.
Many of his actions, namely that video of him attacking Cassie, are deplorable. And some of the things that came out in the previous trials about him are downright heinous and disgusting. I want to really drive this home that this video is not a video that is defending Diddy's actions. No man should ever lay his hand on a woman. This video is meant to be an unbiased view from a legal standpoint. The most recent trial was not based on domestic violence. There was a trial between Cassie and Diddy back in November of 2023 over the abuse that she endured throughout the relationship. She received a large settlement as a result. Part of the reason why she had sued him before is because there was a statute of limitations on the abuse that she endured. This is a big part of where the confusion comes from. People saw the video of the attack, and although it is horrible, it has nothing to do with the RICO charges that were being laid against Combs. This may have been an overzealous case based on headlines as opposed to hard evidence.
Prosecution pulling out all the stops as they make their final push to put Diddy away for life. Shocking images revealed from inside the freak-offs, hotel rooms in disarray with thousands of dollars worth of damage.
He was convicted of 2 of the 5 charges, which could land him up to 20 years in prison, to which he most likely won't serve. Diddy may also have the ability to overturn some of the charges that he was convicted of. This verdict was met with major public outrage.
This is shocking. This was an enormous defeat for prosecutors.
This video is not about the character of Sean Combs. I'm more interested to how the public reacts to high-profile cases, and I want to discuss how the law is separate from public opinion. Regardless of how anybody feels about Diddy or high-profile celebrities in general, the law has to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that a defendant has committed a crime. The biggest problem with his charges was that they were carried out in federal court. I have listened to legal professionals discussing how it would have been handled much better in state court. One former lawyer even said that this trial should not have even made it to federal court. This is what a lot of people are not understanding about this case and its outcome. The issue with the majority of our society is we have a tendency to get triggered by the media and a lot of the stories it propagates.
A juror from Sean Diddy Combs' trial slams the public's response to the jury's verdict. The juror, who asked not to be named out of fear of retaliation, tells ABC News that any speculation the mogul's celebrity status influenced their decision is highly insulting and belittling to the jury and the deliberation process.
This is heightened when a defendant is in a powerful position or has attained a certain level of status or wealth. The general public always eats these stories up and is awaiting the downfall. Another issue I see with how people are reacting is the numerous conspiracies surrounding celebrities.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we're covering the Illuminati. Is it a real thing? What the hell is it?
It's not a thing.
People think that you can just buy your way out of a criminal conviction. Diddy was most likely in federal court because he is a high-profile celebrity. He was acquitted of 3 out of the 5 charges because he was not proven guilty of them. Public opinion based on propaganda does not equate a guilty verdict. He was found guilty of 2 prostitution-related charges involving transporting prostitutes for the purpose of illegal activity. He was denied bail and will remain incarcerated until sentencing at a later date. When he was first indicted on the very serious RICO charges, news outlets forecasted some big players to be taken down in the entertainment industry. RICO stands for Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. None of this was substantiated in a court of law. Once upon a time, RICO was for prosecuting organized crime families. There was a lot of skepticism surrounding this case when the prosecution implicated that Combs was the head of an organized crime racketeering organization. This was where I had the feeling that he was going to beat the charges. The RICO case was dismissed because the evidence could not conclude that Combs was in a distinct organization committing these crimes. They alleged that Combs' business empire enabled him to coerce women into committing certain acts and conceal his illicit conduct to protect his reputation. The testimony of both Jane and Cassie did not corroborate with the evidence. There would have to be proof of coercion into these acts, but there were text messages indicating that these were consensual relationships. An alternate juror recently came forward and said that he didn't think that the victims were forced into any of these acts.
An alternate juror in the Sean P. Diddy trial is speaking out today. George, as he wants to be known, was asked if he agreed with the verdict.
And looking back at the evidence, I probably would have reached the same conclusion as the other jurors.
He was also asked about the jury being shown shocking videotape of the so-called freak-offs that featured Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura.
It didn't seem forced. It was actually like pretty tame.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she?
It was just a lot of rubbing oil.
Cassie allegedly admitted that she was looking forward to the freak-offs in a text message that she sent to Combs. The victims also sought out more experiences with Combs, and they always had an opportunity to leave if they wanted to. They also did not call the police or report anything either. The term freak-off was constantly used in the media in order to weaponize the charges against Combs. The issue with the public reaction is that the media painted a picture that didn't equate to a conviction of racketeering. There was no evidence indicating that Combs was running a criminal organization for the purpose of trafficking. There are obvious flaws in the legal system, but they can't just go around convicting people of crimes based off of headlines. If they could start doing that, then they could infringe on everybody else's rights, even the average citizen. The law is very particular about how a defendant can be convicted of certain charges. I hope videos like these help give insight in how to look at things more skeptically instead of emotionally. The biggest problem with this trial is when you have testimony from a witness, it has to be substantiated by hard evidence. The relationships that these witnesses had with Combs appeared to be consensual to the jury. He had a very bizarre relationship with these witnesses. He's obviously done some pretty disgusting things, all the things that came forward. The media blew this way out of proportion, and it was a serious overreach to convict him in federal court. Once again, I do not think Sean Combs is a good person. My purpose on this channel is to always discuss these type of topics in a very matter-of-fact way, so people can see through all of the smoke and mirrors and understand what is going on in situations like this one. Emotions, headlines, and opinions do not equate a guilty verdict, no matter how much you dislike somebody. I saw a lot of people online saying that he's getting away with this because he's a celebrity, but if you really pay close attention to what's going on, he was actually charged in federal court because of his high-profile status. Though the system may appear broken, this shouldn't have been tried in federal court. That's all I got for this one. If you want to discuss this further in the comments, leave me a message. If you want to like and subscribe to this video, it helps me reach more people with this message, and it helps me with the algorithm. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. Stay skeptical. See you in the next video. I'm out.